So you've been spooked by how many restrictions are coming into place on the internet from around the world and want to browse onion sites in peace? Well, you've come to the right place, my friend. Today, I'm going to show you how to browse and interact with onion sites the safest. However, you should know that you can never be 100% safe, and zero-day exploits along with existing exploits and misjudged OPSEC could always either land you in someone's basement, or, if you get too carried away with your browsing, land you with a 2-digit sentence in the slammer with your new bum buddy Tyrone. I won't be talking about how the Tor network works, though elements of that will come into it. I'll make another video talking about how the Tor network works, but for now, I'll link a video in the description that explains it pretty nicely. Let's get into it. You should keep your Tor browser with default settings, and shouldn't install any extensions or scripts in order to limit your digital fingerprint. As good practice, do not maximize your Tor browser window either, as every Tor browser session opened by everyone always opens at a set resolution. This is to eliminate the possibility of any site trying to uniquely identify you through the resolution of your monitor, though if you do have to maximize for whatever reason, the Tor browser will continue to mask your real screen resolution. It would just get bigger, as long as your monitor resolution is bigger than the default Tor window. So, if you've got a small Dell monitor, sorry boys. You should always practice good OPSEC. Good OPSEC would include stuff like having JavaScript disabled on all the sites you visit, never using any of your real-world details anywhere on the internet, especially on the dark web, and limiting your interaction with the web page as much as possible. For example, if you're on a dark web forum and want to post, make sure you type your message into an external file using software like gedit or Vim, and then copy and paste that into the Onion site and then post. We do this to eliminate the possibility of the website trying to fingerprint you, in other words, trying to identify your browsing session by any unique identifier they can get their hands on by the way you type. Try to keep this as a rule of thumb. Generally, the less you interact with a web page, the better. And don't leave your laptop open unattended while in the library. It doesn't end very well. Now for the next point. If you want to browse as safely as you can, only use Tor for browsing Onion sites and do not browse ClearNet sites, as doing this requires you to go through an exit node, which introduces more failure points into your web of safety. Browsing Onion sites keeps you inside your Tor circuit, utilizing 3 Tor nodes before you reach your destination, while never revealing anything unique about your computer or Tor session. And make sure your Tor safety settings are set to the safest setting when you are browsing sites you know not much about, just to be on the safe side. This makes sure that all JavaScript and non-HTML elements are disabled by default. You can allow exceptions, however, if you know the site is legit, and if you are planning on browsing for prolonged periods of time, checking out forum boards or blog posts, etc., you might want to consider downloading the Tails operating system and install it to a bootable USB device. The Tails operating system is a Linux distro that routes all of your network traffic through the Tor network. It is an entire OS that can also be booted from a USB without using any storage devices on the computer you would normally boot from. You could also install CubesOS, which can be installed on a hard drive or SSD to boot from, as a normal Linux distro. I will need to go into more detail about these operating systems in another video, so I've got a few videos coming out in the future if you want to stay tuned for that. It might also be worth considering to use a separate machine to browse Onion sites if you are planning on doing it regularly or you plan on downloading files. Well, downloading files can be dangerous if you do it the wrong way. If you do download some files, make sure to disconnect from the internet when you run them or check them out, just to be sure. Though if you're going on the dark web to download files, you probably know what you're doing and probably shouldn't be watching this video. You can also use a virtual machine, but using a separate machine with a Linux distro like CubesOS installed or booting off a Tails USB is always best practice, I think. If you're just having a peek at a few popular dark websites, you should be fine to just use the browser on your main system, provided you're running Linux, of course. If you have a Windows install as your main OS, you should probably either use a different machine with Linux on or install Tails through an external USB. But do remember that virtual machines are always an option. This is just because Windows is an insecure, proprietary piece of intangible crap. Just install Linux. Now you've listened to this quick infomercial, you are armed with some valuable, useful skills, and hopefully just a tad bit of common sense. Now, where the hell can you find some Onion sites to view? On one hand, you could go to sites like the Hidden Wiki to get a starting point, but that site is full of scams and normie crap, so I'd recommend you find yourself a dark web search engine like Torch Search or Phobos and start from there. These search engines are pretty nice and seem to be alright in terms of results and accuracy. Just make sure you have the safest configuration possible to browse, as you will be getting everything those search engines index and not some cherry-picked rubbish like from the aforementioned hidden wiki. The most important thing you need to take away from this is that the dark web can have some pretty rough stuff on it, just like the clearnet, so just keep that in mind and be prepared. Alright friends, that's about it for today's infomercial. If you did enjoy this, maybe consider liking the video and subscribe for more Linux and tech related content. Have a good day everyone, stay safe, and I'll see you in the next one.